blessed. You have been chosen by God to compete for righteous glory. 8 other champions will enter, but there can only be one MoY. And now, introducing your host, Jake, the gluten-free careless.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, men who act like children of all ages, the Missouri Aquarium Society is proudly present to you the five-time podcast of the year, the
MoY Ploy! Yes,
You were rocking out,
everybody.
You were
What a
rocking out in
week
that
it's
intro
been.
music, Pigu.
Oh yeah, man, I'm pumped. I'm feeling it. I missed last week. I missed our MoY Play, and it's just I was
Your
traveling,
internet's
boys. I
cutting in and
missed
out.
everybody.
Your internet's cutting in and out on us a little bit. If your phone's updating, maybe shut off the internet to that.
No,
I think this is probably
now.
hopefully, yeah. I think this is the best MoY Play introduction music we've had of all time.
It's
The
legit.
Bulls intro was pretty good.
Bulls
I
intro
like
is
the
my
Bulls
favorite.
intro. Yeah, okay. We
Yeah.
can bring it back sometime. All right.
Let's jump into it.
Why
we got a
waste
lot to
any more
talk about.
time? Oh my God, you're so right. All right. Let's go ahead and get that screen share going. All right. We have a terrible show in store for you today. If I could talk, that would even make it better. We have got the recap, the MoY and WoY talks, because I believe this upcoming week is the last week of the regular season,
And
which
so it will
means
be
that voting time, baby. These are regular season awards. Otherwise, it would just go to the winner every time. So this is based on who you think has put themselves in the best position to win the championship.
MoY.
And yeah, the real championship, the MoY.
The MoY.
All right. So, and then we got the preview for next week. Before we get into any of that, let's talk about the recap, the weekly recap. We had my dad barely squeaking out a win against myself. Big props goes to him. Pretty good week at 180, honestly. Juju on my Chubb, one of the ugliest one-sided games I think we've ever seen, and one of Brent's better finishes on the year with 133. Get fucked. Sorry, Brent.
Sorry, Brent.
Josh Jacobs puts up a heroic effort. Got to talk about
God.
that.
Z-Warren's guys are starting to pop off again, and that makes him scary. He's put up some sick numbers, and so it feels like the Rat Pack's got quite the team, but Z-Warren, Rat Pack's on the bubble.
I agree.
Dude, Josh Jacobs is a god.
I
I despise Eddie Disler for what he did to my boy Brett Tat.
Bro, $20 is about to come my way.
I was about to say if Brett loses next week and Eddie wins, that would mean that they have a tied record. But I can tell you this: Brett Tat is going to win.
You think so, huh? Because you're going to throw the game?
I think Brett's going to win. I think Brett's got a good chance. Now, the question is, will you be able to take down the Rat Pack? That's the real question.
Okay. We'll get into that in a little bit. We had, speaking of Eddie and Brett, Eddie versus Brett head-to-head. You know, the better team won head-to-head. I think the better team should make the playoffs. Think about that.
I know the better team did win. You know what happened is, and then I lost to Ray. I could have had a chance to close the door on Ray, but instead, dude, Ray is gonna get in, and I do not want to play Ray at all. That dude's team is filthy.
It's scary.
Absolutely,
it's a scary
filthy.
roster. Yeah, it's a scary roster. And yet he's only 6-6. There's something to that. All right, that's the weekly recap. I don't think we have any real trades to discuss, do we?
Nothing happened. It's been a quiet week. I
Yeah,
think
just some
people were
ad
busy with
drops.
the holidays. Yep.
Just a bunch of ad drops, and that's it.
Your dad picked up some MoY Pirine, which was a great pickup.
Yes, got him the win. Definitely
Yep.
good pickup.
Yep.
All right, yeah, that's it. Let's go straight into the MoY discussion, Pigu. All right, MoY. Let's make a brief case for all the players that are currently in the MoY discussion.
Before we go there, can I tell you? I want us to take just a second to tell the audience what we think the WOY is. Like what
Are we talking about MoY
encapsulates
or
the.
WoY?
Oh, I want to start with the WOY. I want to start with the
Okay, you want to start with the
shittiest manager.
All right, all right.
Just the manager that when you think about him, you think, what are they doing? What are they thinking? Do I loathe this person? Yes. Do I? I have to deal with this person being in my league. I love them. I loathe them.
I can't tell if you're talking about me or my dad, but it's definitely a
No.
Harris.
I think Brent 1010. I love Brent 1010, but I loathe all his trades. I loathe
wow.
I loathe how he loaded up people who are my nemesis. The Rat Pack, your dad, Todd Sizzle. I feel like they got sweet deals on good
Now,
players.
let's kick off the WoY, and let's talk about the WoY criteria, like you're saying. Now, you've already started petitioning for Brent. Let's roll it back.
What do you think about in a WoY?
Let's roll it back just a little bit to get to the WoY. Now,
is it somebody who sits back and doesn't make moves? Is it somebody who does make moves? I don't know.
Exactly. Is it? And you know, the WoY is these awards are subjective. You know,
Yeah.
it comes down to ultimately who you, the voter, believes should earn that right to call themselves the WoY. All right. Now,
I don't necessarily think record plays into it. Is that
I
interesting?
think record
might
does
be the
play into
least.
it.
Oh, I think record might be the least important thing. And
no, I think record is one of the more important parts.
Ooh.
I think record is very important. It's not all important. I think if you have a stacked team like Ray and you end up missing the playoffs,
that's a WoY move.
That's a WoY move. That is big time WoY energy right there. And here's what happened. And here's what happened. My dad pointed this out, and he's absolutely right. Ray made a bunch of trades, and he got players. He gave away players that were already past their bye week, and he bought players that had upcoming bye weeks. That's like buying a concussion injury, a 1 week out injury. And when you're doing that, when you're on the bubble, you can't afford to be buying guys who you know are going to be missing a week. And that did potentially end up costing Ray a win earlier in the season, putting him in the situation that he's in now instead of having this literally locked up. Which I think is very interesting. I think there's definitely something to be said about mismanaging bye weeks. And that is, you know, there's a narrative to all of this. It's not just secondary matrix. There's a little bit of artistry to this as well, in that you kind of have to do your own digging. You guys get to be the ones who create the criteria for these awards. Now, as far as other WoY criteria, I look at dedication to the league. I look at what they bring as a personality to the league. I look at, just who's going to be able to take it on the chin and like not be bothered by being the WoY. And I give them negative WoY points for that. I want it to deeply affect whoever wins that award. Deeply affect. I want them to like consider leaving the league because they were the WoY.
Yeah, I like that. You want them to feel deflated.
That's my criteria. My criteria. Now,
What about a MoY?
What goes into being a MoY? In my opinion,
Let's go back to the beginning. The MoY created in the first season of the league. We've had 3 MoYs in our history.
not the first season, created in the third season of the league with the addition
Well,
of Brent Van Conyu. My
I
dad was
consider
my dad was petitioning himself to be the MoY.
the
And
manager
he
of the year.
titled it the Manager of the Year, MoY. He made it up himself. Brent, being his first year of fantasy football of all time, thought, oh shoot, this is a real award and I can't let Todd Harris win. So he began an anti-Todd Harris MoY campaign, scorched earth campaign. We're talking September political ad style. And the MoY was basically born out of Brent's misinformation, thinking that the MoY was a real award. I said, you know what? Fuck it. That does sound like fun. And so I don't even think Brent realized that it wasn't real until after I created it.
But now it's real.
And then he didn't realize it wasn't real until it was real.
Hmm.
So now it's real, baby. That is the history of the MoY. What goes into being a MoY? The MoY is someone who transcends the game of fantasy football, and their mind is glowing and expanding outwards. And no, that's a bunch of bullshit.
I want to say this. It's a good thing that the MoY is a regular season award because there's a former MoY who I think earned the MoY based on the playoff performance, and that's what I consider season 2 in this league. That's MoY Ray in the playoffs. He was the 1 seed. He had the early exit.
Mm-hmm.
He had a great team, and he had an early exit, and that would be a MoY if you shit the bed.
It's hard to keep. It's also so hard to keep like the past out of this, because there really is something to just watching someone choke year after year, and it's hard to vote them MoY. Now Ray is a reigning MoY. He did win MoY that year. He did choke that year as well. But this is just about the person who managed to get in this position. All right, enough about that. We need to talk about these managers. Let's break it down. Break down the case for Zach, Team Juju on my Chubb. What does he have going for him as the MoY?
I think he didn't panic when his team started underperforming. He made some good trades to try and put himself in position. And now if Jamar Chase comes back, again, Lamar Jackson and Kyler Murray, if they're popping off. If Josh Jacobs is now the number, Z-Warren didn't panic on Eckler earlier in the season. He held him. Now Z-Warren has RB1, RB2 on his team in PPR. He's just an absolute monster there.
Zach has the lowest amount of moves made in the league.
Now, what is
tied
that?
With only 2 other teams who are both bottom bitch boys. Eddie Disler and Brent Tent.
Brent Van Conyu.
Yes, only 14 moves. That is 1 move per week at this point in the season, guys. 1 move per week, basically. So that is a glacial pace. And honestly, Zach just drafted really, really well. I'm going to go by team here. Austin Eckler, Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, Devontae Adams, Nick Chubb, DJ Moore, bit of a miss. Breece Hall was fantastic. Cortland Sutton, Josh Jacobs, Juju, Dalton, Olave, and then the bottom of his roster is mostly off of his team, or been in and out of there. But
he's hanging on to Breece Hall. It doesn't matter.
He hit a bunch of different. Yeah, he might come back any day now from that torn ACL. He hit a bunch of different guys there that were super high yield. Austin Eckler being one of them, Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, Devontae Adams, and his guys have been hitting. This is another important part. Lamar Jackson was putting up 50-point weeks, and then shortly after Lamar Jackson decided he was going to chill for a bit because he lost his number 1 receiver, Josh Jacobs started putting up 30-plus point weeks. And there's just always been somebody who steps up during a week. He has a deep enough roster. He's just been able to kind of have a week-winning performance out of one of his 6 or 7 studs. Now, I think we need to look a little bit at the next possible, MoY, that would be yourself. Go ahead. This is your
Ooh.
chance. And
All right.
you remember, this is political. Do you want to be modest?
Or do I want to talk about the truth, the light?
or
Do you want to be a convert?
puff the
Are
chest
you
out a
ready?
little bit?
Are you ready to receive the truth? T Sizzle, do I make bad predictions?
I love
Yes.
that the first thing that you had to say about why you should be MoY was about my dad.
T
You
Sizzle.
didn't say a damn thing about yourself. It was
This is
his name
about
out of your
Todd.
mouth.
This is about Todd Harris and my predictions.
All right.
I wrote him off, but he ain't right back, yo. All right, my case for MoY. I've been here before. I try to make moves. I always bring it, and but I don't think I will deserve the MoY. I think other people have better. I just don't think it's me. I don't think it's not my year. There's too many other good stories that of people who deserve more redemption arcs. The Brett Fitzgerald redemption arc, the Eddie
Now, I
Disler
believe
redemption arc.
you are the reigning MoY, if I'm not
I'm the
mistaken.
reigning MoY. Now, if you go back to back MoY, that would be creating history.
That would definitely be creating history. I would say you have a strong case in that you've put together a solid team and you've made the second highest amount of moves in the league. Not only that, you also have a second highest points for in the league, a fantastic stats to go along with your fantastic season.
If I got first place outright, maybe, but it'd be tough to get first place outright. I don't think
You just have to win and Z-Warn loses and you get first outright.
And Z-Warn ain't losing and I ain't winning.
Think about that. All right. Spoken like a boy. All right. Now, the next candidate would be Todd Harris. Controversial name right here.
I believe in
You love him, hate him. You got to admit, he's having a great season right now.
I wrote him off. These quarterback trades early on in the year I thought were preposterous, but here he is. He's in the top 4. He's tied for first place at 9-3 with me and Z-Warn.
Yep.
He could easily be in second place at the end of this weekend, looking at taking on a matchup with me. It feels like it's most likely
you two feel fated together
to face off in the semifinal.
And what an amazing rivalry that you guys have built up over the years. I can't wait for the group texting threads.
I hate the phone call that comes in and I answer and it says, "What's up, bitch?"
Isn't it something like stupid bitch or little
What's
bitch?
up,
There's
you
something
stupid bitch.
There's something diminutive about it too, yeah. He thinks it's funny, but it's really just hurtful. All right. The next up on the list, we got to talk about Ray Rat Pack. Ray's had an interesting season, in my opinion. Let me look at the schedule here and how the year has gone for Ray. Ray started off quite bumpy. He had 0-1, 1-1, 2-1, 2-2, 3-2, 4-2, 4-3, 4-4, 5-4, 5-5, 5-6, 6-6. His years have really been kind of up and down. He's crossed the 200-point threshold not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times this season. Is that right?
But here's
1, 2, 3, 5 times. He's crossed the 200-point threshold 5 times this season, and he's even lost a game that he crossed the 200-point threshold in.
Consider this. He found Eddie Disler, and man, did he make some great trades with Eddie Disler.
You always got to find the one guy in the league who is bad at trading and trade with him nonstop. And Ray did a great, sorry, Eddie. And Ray has done a great job here. Now, ultimately, Ray's downfall is his defense. He has the second highest points against in the league, hence why he is sitting at 2-2. And the third highest is not particularly close. He's almost, no, he is more than 100 points higher per game against than the next closest team. That is a lot. 100 points against, and that next highest would go to our next candidate, being Brent. So before we move on to Brent, we'll wrap up Ray. I got to say, Ray's
Talk
put together.
Brent or Brett tet tet.
Ray has towed the line, in my opinion. He's played a very high risk, high reward game. If he makes the playoffs, I believe he should be the odds-on favorite to win it all, given what an incredibly powerful roster he has built. He has been buying low, trading with desperate managers, and buying assets that have bye weeks upcoming, knowing that the players that had them needed to win in that moment or give up their hopes at extending their season. And in doing so, he's put himself in a hole that he absolutely has to win next week to hold his fate in his own hands. Now, let's talk about Brett Tet Tet. You want to talk about a tale of two seasons? Brett is basically the inverse of Ray, where Ray has been kind of starting high, coming back down, going back up again. Brent has just been in a single trajectory from the bottom to the top. He started off not 0-1, not 0-2, but 0-3. Then he gets 2 wins in a row. Then he shoots up to 2-5, then 3-5, then 4-5, then 4-6.
Your
Am I
mic,
counting
bro.
that right?
Your mic adjusted.
Oopsies. What, is it too quiet?
Yeah, it was too quiet.
Okay. Starts out 0-3, then he gets a win, then a second win to go to 2-3. Then he's at 2-4 after another loss, goes on a 2-game win streak, goes up to 4-4. Then he gets an L, 4-5, 2 wins, 6-5, fumbles the bag against Eddie, had a chance to take the lead from Ray and bungles it. And next week, he faces a MoY candidate in you. Brett has done an excellent job of staying the course. However, this is why I would consider Brett for both MoY and WoY. Brett has been holding players like Deshaun Watson, holding players like DeAndre Hopkins, holding other injured and suspended players. I mean, his whole roster was full of injured. We've been memeing on him all season long for holding injured and suspended players and starting half a starting lineup that was from the same team. And you know what? As soon as he started, I think he got rid of one of his San Francisco boys, and his team started performing much better. Go figure. And I think because he had Elijah Mitchell got out of a starting lineup. I think is what it was.
And he had Ayuk and he had Debo.
Yeah, Fish, as we call him.
Fish.
Yeah. So holding all those starting assets that had value, but you didn't want to trade anything for them. If you missed the playoffs, bro, just know if you had traded them earlier and gotten at least one more win, you'd be in the playoffs pretty much guaranteed at this point. So it's interesting to see the strategy of both these managers playing a very patient game, and these guys are also locked in a battle to boot each other out of the playoffs in our dynasty league as well. The same managers. Dang. It's quite a good rivalry already showing up here.
I like it.
I like it too. Now let's move on to the WoY. I just made Brett's case for WoY. Let's. Did we already talk about the other guys? I don't think we actually talked about the managers who deserve WoY.
Your mic quality just has gone downhill, unfortunately.
Really? Is it crackling or what?
No, it's just low. It's just very quiet.
All right, let me see if I can fix this. One moment. All right.
It's good earlier.
How is that?
That's about the same.
Okay. How about that? That's
Better.
Probably too hot. That's probably right there in the sweet spot. Right there.
Right there's good. Right there's good.
Okay.
He did it. That's right. He did it. God damn it.
God damn it. I did it. Who do you think you are? I am. All right. For the WoY. Let's talk about the WoY boys.
Eddie Dissler. Eddie. Oof. The 5 QB strat didn't work and he didn't pivot. And Eddie's team is showing that he could eat, again, 2 more wins and Eddie's in the playoffs.
Yep.
And it's just
that's not asking a lot.
He even came on our show and said, I won't admit that
Well, and think about this. He started 1-6.
This is insane. Eddie
He's fucking
Disler,
1
and
and
he
6.
can manage. He can put a team together, but he didn't do anything until it was too late.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. He's made
I
a
asked
couple
him.
of
I
moves.
asked him on the MoY play. I said, "Would you do anything different?" He said, "No." I said,
And
"What's
I
your
said,
plan for
Eddie, you know
next year?"
you missed the playoffs, right?
What's your plan for next year? I'm not changing it up.
One of my one of my favorite quotes from Andy Reid, my favorite head coach in football. They asked him about some play that he called and it didn't work, and they're like, "Andy, why did you call that play in 4th and goal?" Well, because I thought it would work. Well, would you do anything different? He looks around. Yeah, yeah, I would. And to look at a failed season and say I wouldn't do anything different is the height of both arrogance and stupidity. So I gotta say,
I
Eddie,
want Eddie back. I want Eddie back next year.
I'll,
You better
I
be
want you
signing back
back. I
up.
want you back. Absolutely, you make the league fun. But bro, this late season push you've been making, you know,
You can play him.
the moment you're in a hole, the first thing you need to do is stop digging. That is step one of getting out of any hole. And you did not stop digging until week 8. It's
Yep.
too late, brother. Week 8, too late.
Week 8, too late.
All right, next WoY candidate. Let's talk about myself. Man, I could not have failed any harder in the draft.
Injuries.
It just
Your 4th and your 5th.
like Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, both
Jamar
had good
Chase got
seasons,
injured.
but I lost my 3rd-round pick in Javonte
Chase got
Williams.
injured in like week 6
I
or week
lost my
7.
5th-round pick in Kyle Pitts. I lost my 6th-round pick in Trey Lance. I lost Marquise Brown. I've traded him before I lost him, but it just was injury after injury. And then Jamar Chase didn't really do much for the first couple weeks of the season either. I didn't get a ton of production out of Aaron Jones early. Didn't get any production of Elijah Moore. Drake London was good early and hasn't done anything since. Treylon Burks was nothing. Jahan Dotson was good, but got injured. James Cook was nothing. Darrell Henderson was good and then bad. George Pickens has been fine. Julio Jones was injured. The whole roster was just bust after bust after bust after bust. Yet again, I've proven to be one of the worst drafters in this league. It's just if I'm targeting them, y'all should stay away because I got bad taste in picks, man. And the difference is this year, usually I'm able to make trades. However, no one in this league is rookie happy like I am, and so no one was willing to buy the upside.
The rookie happy I thought would hurt you the most.
Yes, I totally agree because I didn't have any proven assets that people wanted to trade for. Therefore, I couldn't employ my main strategy, which is wheeling and dealing, baby.
Yep.
So I think I made a record low trades this year just because I didn't have assets that people wanted. So, hoping to find a more balanced approach next season. I've been a little too passive with my drafts in the past, and this year I was definitely too aggressive. All right, next up we've got Brent Tent. Honestly, I think lowest points for and highest points against is really all the case I need to make for Brent for WoY.
I thought Brent was already out of the picture for the playoffs, and then he traded a lot of good pieces to a lot of playoff teams. I thought for not much, for like lesser stuff in return. I know it beefed up his roster, but anyway, I didn't like that.
Not much because it still put him in the last place.
Yeah, I like Brent.
So it sounds like you got.
I hate.
This sounds
I hate
like
on that fact.
You sound super bitter about these trades, dude.
A little salty about these trades. I'm just like,
little Salt Bay.
I can't do anything about it. I believe in the free market. All I can do is express my saltiness.
Brent sounds like you need to try and trade with Brent next year.
Brent deserved better from me. I'm sorry, Brent.
You need to be the one trading with Brent next time. I think that might be a MoY vote for you for not trading with Brent. Think about that.
Might be.
All right, that's all I've got. Let's take a super quick look at the upcoming week. All right. Whoops. Let me get that on the correct one. All right.
We got big matchups.
A massive matchup. Ray versus
You versus
Jake.
you. If you can take him down, this would be the ultimate giant slayer. David versus Goliath matchup. A 2-10 team upsets the dream of the Rat Pack.
Yeah, the only player in this league right now that just looks like they have a truly unstoppable roster. Now, again, yeah, not much really to add. Let's move on. Brent Tent versus Eddie Dissler.
Eddie Dissler.
In order for Eddie to win, Eddie has to make it in, and I believe Eddie also has to outscore. So Brett and Ray need to lose. Eddie needs to win, and then Eddie needs to outscore Ray by 200 points. No, 300 points. And Eddie is in.
Eddie,
just like he said.
Just like we promised. The extra
it's not over yet, Eddie.
Eddie.
It's not over yet, Eddie.
If he had started 2 weeks earlier, man. 2 weeks earlier.
2 weeks earlier. All right. And these, when I was telling these managers who started off slow, when I was telling them when they were at 1-4, the kind of things that they were going to have to do to make it into the playoffs, they didn't believe me. I laid out the picture of the amount of wins they're going to have to stack up to get into the playoffs, and they didn't believe me, and here we are. All right. So, when you're 1-4 and you're going to have to win like the next 7 out of 10 games, that's asking a lot. That's a little bit more. That's me pooping on Brett and Eddie right there because I was trying to make trades with them.
We got meaningful games here. Team Juju on my Chubb and
battle for first place.
Ploy. That could easily the winner of that I think has first place.
Yep. I believe you're right. And then this game here. Actually, if you win and my dad wins, I think you'll probably still have them on tiebreakers.
But if I lose,
if you lose, then one of these two teams win, and that person would go into first place. Yes.
And that would give Brett a chance. Now, how can Brett catch? How many points does he need? I got the standings here. It looks like he is 200
points. Yeah.
If he can outscore Ray by 204 points.
Mm-hmm. So if he can score more points than he's ever scored this season. No, I think he's broken 200 more than once. All right. Anyways, here's what I'm going to say. Game of the week. I'm going to take the honors. Yeah, because that's the game that controls the fate.
Dude, if Justin Fields is back, he has a 50 burger potential.
If
Smith.
Ray's situation is literally win and in. Win and in.
Ray is winning in.
So that's got to be the game of the week. It's the only game that truly, truly matters this week because after this game, then your game matters.
Yep.
Without that game, your game doesn't matter. So got to give game of the week honors to myself and Ray.
Does it come down to Monday night?
That'd be interesting, wouldn't it?
I always love when it comes down to a Monday night game.
I don't have the times, and it makes me sit through an advertisement if I try and go to the matchup. Which is irritating.
It's awful.
Yeah, and the matchup never actually pops up because I've got ad blocks.
It's awful.
Oh, there it goes. All right. Oh. So then we've got. You look on Ray's side. I'll look on mine. I don't see any Monday nights for me.
No, we'll know by the end of Sunday.
Indeed, we shall. Dang. Any Mondays on the bench?
There's a Sunday night Dallas.
Is there a Monday night game?
Monday, it's Bucks. It's Bucks Saints, and it's Rashad White on the bench.
Oh yeah, I'm probably gonna keep Brady on the bench too. Is Brady even still?
You don't have Brady. You don't have Brady, baby. I do.
Oh, I gave him away. That's right.
You wrote him off. He ain't right back.
I got it. Geno Smith, much better.
Dude's been balling.
Much better.
Geno Smith's been balling, dude.
I know. It's a great trade by me. Cucked ya.
I know. Right. I got trucked.
Boys, that's all I got for you. Thanks for sitting through another one. I will catch y'all in the next one. we are wrapping it up. And then next week we'll be explaining how the MoY and WOY voting works. It is a tiered voting. You get 3 votes, not just 1. All right, y'all.
Peace,
See
y'all.
ya.
Good luck this weekend.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.